Okay, so one thing a lot of people want to know, while we're tied up, while the city can't do anything in terms of enforcing park rules,
Right.
what are the key public safety issues that you're worried about?
And those are some of the things that we're actually having conversations and addressing. So you'll start to see some movement on those issues. So when it comes to the extreme drug use, when it comes to the fires, when it obviously comes to anything of a criminal activity, that's something that we're looking at and working on to stop that kind of activity. So we are rolling out kind of a program to do that. We know and realize that some of these areas are high crime areas as well. So there's a lot of folks who in the community are pushing for enforcement in that area. So, but according to, the city attorney and how we move forward, it has to be really done in a way that isn't targeted. We don't want to target that community or seem to be targeting that community. So for example, we couldn't go in there and go, we're going to fine everybody for smoking today inside them.
Right.
So we really have to look at doing something more, complete and inclusive in terms of the entire city and just enforcing the laws on the books.
Are there any other things that are coming up right now that in this meantime process where the park rules aren't being enforced, other health issues, environmental issues? I mean, is there anything that's coming to mind right now that seems like an immediate issue that you just can't do anything about?
Well, there's some of those things that we can't do anything about. In the particular campsites, if they're being damaged, if they're damaging some of the waterways or the soil or the land, we can do limited things. But in terms of moving actual sites, we have a really difficult time because then we're violating that injunction. So that's where the difficulty comes into play. But you will see the city take a little more aggressive approach at least protecting our resources. And we've had some conversations with our parks director as well as maybe closing particular areas if there's concerns about, like the plaza we're in.
Yeah.
There's some health concerns. So if we need to address those, we're going to definitely close what we need to address those health concerns as we move forward.
Okay. So I think I've asked you about pretty much everything that
Yeah.
I was curious about. At this point, what are your expectations moving forward? When are you going in next to meet with the judge or to work out what, to bring up your next idea? And
Sure.
can we see it approved next time? Potentially?
Potentially you could. So, but, at the same time too, I don't want to make people think that the solution is right around the corner.
Right.
Worst case scenario, we could be looking actually at, going to court on this matter.
Okay.
and have something, which is a much more drawn out process. I really don't think the plaintiffs in this case want it. Certainly the city doesn't want that. We want to come to some resolution and move forward. We just need really both sides to be reasonable.
Do you feel like they're being reasonable?
I think they could give a little more. I think they're shooting for the moon. I think they're asking for things that they know that the city couldn't afford if it had to. So I think if we were able to do that, we would certainly do that. And, obviously meet them at some level, but not at the same time, go beyond what the city's budget could handle and what this issue needs to be.
Okay.
So,
And again, airport resting site, $35,000 a month.
yeah, some
Continuing
substantial
legal
costs. Yes, with all of these issues, there's substantial fees. $35,000 out at the airport each month to have 29 people in shelter or some form of campsite, is certainly not great for the city budget. So, we really want to find that resolution. We'd have more resources as we move forward. We can pull in some county resources. We want to do that. We want to see these things succeed. We want to set up that one site that actually works.
Yeah.
But we just need the other side to come forward and go, we're willing to meet you halfway on this stuff. So, and I'm hopeful that'll happen. Settlement conferences are always about that give and take. So.